trying to.
If
no, I'm
everyone
not trying to
hated me,
boost your ego.
I'd still beg Ben to be on. So.
It's the fact that if you have an opinion on something, you
And you know what? I feel bad.
enough to give your
I
opinion.
feel bad about the live shows that I didn't have enough of an opinion. I was too wishy-washy.
I made it go live like 15 seconds ago.
Oh,
Welcome to the Practical Pistol Show. My name is Ben Steger. I'm here to answer your shooting questions. Joining me from Georgia, producer Candace.
Future pro shooter.
Well, you're going to have an opinion, damn it.
Okay, pro.
And just so you know, Candace, I think it is a valid opinion to say that you just don't give a shit. That's okay.
You don't always have to agree or disagree, exactly.
Yeah, you can just say, I don't fucking care. And Mr. Apathetic Asshole himself, Tim Aaron, from Kansas City.
Yep, I'm here.
We're like, none of that is true about you. I'm being unfair. All right, today's discussion topic. Some dude, I'll call him, some dude kicked off some discussion, I will say, on the Area 6 Facebook page. This got shared over to other Facebook pages, and for whatever reason, Homeboy wrote a post that was incendiary enough that it got a lot of people talking, and it got people talking about a lot of different issues. And I mean, as I'm sitting here right now, I'm not really sure what the disagreement is. So I think we'll just start with what this guy wrote, and we'll get some sort of initial reaction. So here's the message that kicked off a bunch of controversy. Based on comments posted, it appears that there's a feeling that the C shooter may become a dinosaur at the large matches. If that's true, here are a few hard facts that should concern you. Area 6 has 432 registered shooters. I think he's talking about the Area 6 match, not like all of Area 6 is itself. Anyway, the bulk of which are C-class, less than 50, are top factory GM shooters.
I didn't realize there were that many factory GM shooters.
They're top factories.
At $150 per, the factory guys only generate about $7,500 of the total 64,800 receipts, unless sponsors kick in a lot of cash, and he put a lot in caps, bitches.
He means business.
The entry fees for the 50 won't cover the cost for meals and hotels for the volunteers and ROs that are needed to run the match, and costs such as competitor lunches, T-shirts, trophies, and other expenses don't come close to being covered. Some say we need the factory shooters as they bring money to the sport. I say they're a nice distraction, but the A, B, and C shooters are the financial core of the sport. If the factory stops supporting the sport can and will survive, just with less at the prize tables. If the sport becomes such that it discourages A, B, and C shooters from participating, the sport is dead. What say you? So, Tim, what say you? What do you think, man?
The thing is, I think he's using a lot of to me, a lot of words and things to talk about the sport itself when he's talking about one match. I mean, you know, and that's to be said for any major match that, yeah, there's less GMs or M shooters than there are C and D class shooters. That doesn't necessarily mean, though, like, to the sport itself, we bring less financially to the table to the sport as a whole.
Wait,
I mean, to me, the sport is...
By we, you're including yourself in the factory pro GMs?
No.
By any definition, you must be, right?
Oh, God, here we go.
well,
anyway.
What is he... What is he's saying? We don't want the sport to be unwelcoming to A, B, or C shooters, right? What do you suppose he's talking about? Like, because I'll tell you, a lot of people got in here and commented, and reading through it, I didn't know what anybody was mad about.
Well, I think my take on it was maybe he feels like the guys at the top sport are elitists, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, we think, you know, speaking for, like, master, grandmaster guys, that supposedly, I guess, we think that the sport belongs to us and that the matches are put on for our benefit and so on and so forth. And I To me, nothing could absolutely be farther from the truth.
Wait, that the matches are put on for the top guys?
Well, yeah, I mean, the matches are put on as as a whole for the core of USPSA members. You know what I mean?
I'll speak for the top of the sport elitists. I'll say club matches are put on for the core. This is an Area 6 championship match. That's the point of the match. It's a championship. That's not for the C-class shooters, right? They may make up the bulk of the people signing up, but in my mind, like if I'm going to nationals, it's a national championship match. That's the point of it. I personally would not want the stage designs to be like, we're going to make this accessible for C and D class shooters here at nationals. I'm like, no, get the fuck that. Like, you guys come shoot the match if you want, but this is a national championship match. That's the point of it.
So
what do you think about
only...
that, Tim?
That I totally agree with, definitely. But what I guess I mean by elitist, I wouldn't want to discount the input or the membership as a whole. To say like, well, sorry, no C class or below shooters can actually come and shoot the match. I mean, to me, that's kind of the fun part, I guess, of being able to shoot USPSA is that you can, as a D or C class guy, hell, there's actually you get a chance and opportunity to shoot right alongside the pros of the sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, Candace, you look like you had something to say. Was it?
Well, yeah. I mean, so you're saying like nationals, if it was just the super squad, that'd be perfectly cool. I mean, because they're the only ones that can win it, conceivably.
Am I saying that?
Yeah, just.
No, I'm saying that's what people are. That's what the match is for, right? At the national level, like no, other people go and shoot it, and they make it a functional match. I mean, the match isn't going to happen without ROs there. There are a lot of other people there, but that's like the match is to find the best shooter in the country. In my opinion, that's what it's for, and that's what people talk about. That's what people are focused on, and those are the motherfuckers that are going to have their picture in front sight. That's what it's for. That's what it's about.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like maybe
it seems like the
like
thing on this thread, the butthurt, is that they think that pro GMs get special treatment. I don't know. I think that's the undercurrent.
I don't think it's so much of a preferential treatment as much as it's maybe they think like, well, it's not fair that the guy that wins the match, he's a GM and he's going to take all the good prizes off the prize table. And like honestly, Ben, do you give a shit about a prize table of any major match you go and shoot?
No, I actually posted to that effect. I think the one post I made was to say, if you guys don't want to give GMs prizes, I'm okay with that. Put it in the match booklet. Make it your policy that the GMs aren't eligible for whatever. And I personally am cool with that.
Yeah, me too.
Prizes have never, and I bet you over the last 10 years, I've probably taken 30 guns off prize tables. The money that I got from selling them does not even like move the needle in terms of my participation in the sport. If I go shoot an area match and I win a gun that I can flip for $400, I still spent tons of cash to go to the area match, right? Like I don't give a shit about the prize table does not affect my decision making at all for what matches I go to. It is irrelevant to me. Even cash payouts irrelevant to me. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to go to the matches that I want to go to, and that stuff, it doesn't affect my decision making one way or the other. Whereas that seems to matter to some people a lot. So I personally am fine with saying if you don't want GMs to be eligible for prizes, it's totally fine with me.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Candace, was there anything else interesting?
Yeah, it just seems like there's this weird misconception about how much people at the top actually spend to play. I mean, you gotta travel and pay for hotels too, right? I mean, those aren't comp for everyone. Probably very few, really.
Very few. I think Ben actually addressed this before. That what was it like? Of actual pro like shooters that get paid to shoot matches, where we're less than 10 nationwide, right?
Probably.
And even then, even then, I know of a few that still have to pay their own travel expenses, catch their own flights, rental cars, and whatnot to shoot said matches. So, I mean, there's still expenses even for a pro level shooter to go to that match and compete.
Well, not to mention, probably your biggest expense for the year is going to be your training. You know,
Absolutely.
purchasing reloading components to load all your ammo for the year. That's going to be thousands and thousands of dollars. Targets, pasters, range access, gas to and from the range, all that bullshit, that adds up pretty fast. So you're still going to put a lot into it. It's, to be honest, right now it's an amateur sport. The people at the top of the sport generally are not getting paid to do that. They make money doing sidelines and other bullshit. So yes, if this guy thinking that there's 50 factory pros, he called them or whatever, at the match,
they're completely comped. I mean, they're paid money plus they don't have to pay to go there, right?
Yeah, that's not the case. That anything else going on.
That would be pretty cool, but it's just not true.
Well, how about this? Let's pretend it is true.
Oh, so
would that matter? Like, what would you give a shit to you? Would it matter to your perception of the conversation going on online about this? Would it matter if it's true? Let's say there's a bunch of, like, if you're a GM, you're making money at the sport. Would it matter to you if that was the case? If there's a bunch of guys at the top making money?
Not at all.
You don't care?
No.
It'd help a bit with the expenses, right?
No,
that's about it.
Would that matter to your perception of how the sport is and whether or not you feel welcome and any of that?
No.
You don't care?
No, because I think it's great. We all get to shoot the same stages. What could be better?
I don't know. It seems fine to me. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't really care. All right, Tim, anything else to say about this?
I don't know. There was how many comments is on that post now? Like 180 something. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know. It just, like I said, to me, it sounds like the way I perceive that going is maybe that guy's just upset that somebody's beating him to the prize table to get all the good stuff.
God, who cares about the prize table?
But too many people do care. That's the problem.
All right.
Well, anyway, my final thoughts, as I read through the conversation on there, it was a bunch of people sort of shouting past each other, and I didn't understand really initially what anybody was. Maybe I'm just out of touch because I'm an elitist dick. But I didn't understand. Like,
you don't understand what it's like anymore, Ben.
Right? I don't know what you're mad about, bitching about the GM pros. I don't know what these other guys are mad about, bitching at you. Nobody's really been really particular about what their objections are. So
I think so much got kind of lost in translation.
Well, there was nobody doing translating.
No, people aren't saying what they're really talking about. That's what I think. But whatever.
I suppose not. All right, let's move on to some shooting questions, Candace. Hit it.
All right. So our first question today is: in the last couple of matches I've identified a weakness. I noticed I'll either slow way down on the arrays with partial targets and get good hits, or end up clipping the edge of a no-shoot or into the hard cover. I cleared one stage like this with all alphas, but I was about 4 seconds slower than the shooter that beat me. I've set out to practice with partials more often to become more comfortable in a match situation. If I set up a drill from skills and drills, what is your advice on developing goal times for, say, a Blake drill at 7 yards with no shoots blocking the C and D zones? Do you think it's even beneficial to set up a goal time in this instance? Obviously, I'm going to set myself up for disappointment if trying for the same times as with open targets, but the overall goal is match performance and being more confident in shooting partial targets. Any advice is appreciated.
Okay, I personally, like, kind of reading between the lines on this question, I don't think it's a matter of working out the goal times for specific exercises. I think that the guy asking the question is probably a pretty good shooter, and he probably doesn't practice on partial targets a whole lot. So either he shoots super conservatively and guarantees himself hits, or he just sort of kind of attacks the stage the way he normally would and just kind of tries to stay out of the no shoots and off the hardcover, and sometimes fucks up. And there's really nothing in the middle. So I think a piece of this is being comfortable shooting at partial targets, and another part of its experience. So if you just set up a lot of partials into your regular drills or into scenario type practice, you're going to get a sense of what it is that you can do at different target arrangements, at different distances, and that sort of thing. And you're also going to feel more comfortable, which is a lot of the problem, is that once you have a sense for your ability level and sort of how much attention you got to pay the sights and trigger control to not get penalties, I think you're going to not be 4 seconds off the pace when you actually go to matches. That's my feeling. Just mix them in, and don't worry about the times a whole lot. Just get a sense for what you can do and get comfortable, and I think you'll be okay. Tim, what do you think?
You took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, the main thing is
what? No, you have to be creative in a really interesting way right now.
Well, that's the big thing, is there is no measurable times or par times. I mean,
well, there is. We could, right?
Yeah, you could set up a standard drill and.
Well, yeah, if you ran a standard or something like that, but not every stage is going to be a standards type of stage. I mean, you just have to get yourself more confident, more comfortable with seeing the sights and being able to press the trigger where you need to and spend the time where you need to on the targets that you need to spend the time to shoot them. You know what I mean? It's not a. I don't think there's just a one size fits all. This is the training regimen. These are the part times you need to set. This is what you're going to have to do in order to overcome that. I think what you need to do to overcome it is just what Ben said. You've just got to be more comfortable shooting partials and spending just only the time needed to make that shot. That's it.
Yeah, I know. I felt I used to be this dude because I didn't practice on partials enough. So I remember even after a few years of shooting, I went to a match that was really partial heavy, and I'm like, man, I am dog shit at this because there's tons of other guys just ripping through going like blah 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 blah. I'm like shit, because my training was just like make sure you
center of ground,
like hit everything. Period.
Right.
Oh,
no matter how much time it takes, and that's not a bad thing to be able to do, but when there's a lot of partial targets on stages, you have to be comfortable kind of blazing a little bit, maybe staying away from the no shoots a little bit more, giving up a few more points, but being able to shoot a lot more aggressively. You've got to learn that stuff.
Exactly. It's a line or a fine line that you learn to kind of ride on, depending on. Yeah, exactly.
So I got a question about that. So do you think he should score his stuff hit factor, basically? Because it sounds like he's not keeping the hit factor in mind when he's shooting partials because he's terrified of clipping the partial if he goes any faster.
Well, you should. Well, living in fear of hitting the partial is not a bad thing, but you should learn to accept a few points down, to more. I don't want to use the word guarantee not hitting a no shoot, but to save yourself the frustration of hitting no shoots.
Well, I guess what I'm asking is, should he go for like the optimal hit, like the A on the partial, or what? I mean.
No, well, yeah, that's at different distances and different target arrangements. That will change. And you're right. Actually, adding up the hit factor, that will help. But I don't think you should just add up the hit factor for one run. I think you got to add it up for a bunch of runs, because I think what fucked me a lot in my earlier shooting was the best hit factors I ever got was when I went for all A's and got all A's. Those were the best, period. Almost regardless of what the situation is, going for all A's in practice and actually getting them, that's going to be your personal best hit factor. But on an average scenario where you shoot it 10 times going for the center of the A's versus 10 times picking a way easier aim point, on average, you might be surprised how much better you do, because if you're going for all A's, obviously you're running the risk of hitting no shoots or whatever, and then training yourself to go then try and do that in a match situation, you might be like, oh shit, I really don't want to hit these no shoots, but I'm training myself to go for all A's. So then you end up being really conservative, right? So Candace, you're making a good point when you say yes, you should add up hit factors. You should definitely do that, but I would encourage you to add up average hit factors. You know, make a point of that, not just like incidental, like one run. Like shoot it a bunch and add it up, because going for all A's, you're going to hit a lot of no shoots probably doing that, depending on the scenario.
So you're saying personal best is going for the A's, but maybe that's not the best thing to do all the time.
Yeah, I can't remember seeing a scenario where I did not get my personal best run by getting all A's in practice. Now, it might take 100 runs to do that, but yeah, your best is gonna be getting the A's. And also in a match setting, there will probably be some asshole at the match who does that and lucks out and gets a stage win. Right, but that doesn't mean that.
Yeah, that's not important if you got second or third with.
Right, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You've got to do what's best for you, and over the course of a match, it'll work out in your favor.
All right.
Yes. Next question.
Next question. When shooting weak hand only, which eye do you use to sight the target? Your dominant eye that you normally use to shoot with, or switch eyes? For me, I'm a lefty, and I'm left eye dominant. When I shoot weak hand only, I find myself using my dominant eye, and therefore either cock the gun at a strange angle or tipping my head to get my dominant eye on the sights or target. How do most people do it? Or is it something that I should just do how I do it?
I think most people probably use their dominant eye. I personally continue to use my dominant eye when I shoot left-handed because, you know, that's the eye I normally use. We're not talking about a big difference in gun position. It's like it's pretty minimal.
The width of your eyes?
It's like 1.5 inches max.
We're not talking about a lot, so I'll just put the gun where I can see what's going on and kind of work from there. Left-handed is fucked up and difficult enough on its own. I don't need to worry about switching.
Tell me about it.
I agree. Fuck that.
What do you think, Tim?
I think a lot of it is just it's all in technique, and a lot of it, especially as far as being able to index the gun in front of your dominant eye, things like that. I mean, these are things I work a lot in dry fire.
Well, how about working the technique of switching eyes that you aim with?
I don't switch eyes. No. I put the gun in front of my dominant eye. So I also don't cant the gun either. So I bring the gun and just bring the gun in front of my dominant eye. But I try to keep the gun as completely perpendicular as possible.
Do you guys move your head at all so you can make it a little easier to get in front of the gun, or
I don't.
Just move the gun?
If I'm shooting weak hand, my main concern is getting my entire body behind the gun as much as possible so that I've got as much recoil control as possible. And then keeping the gun as upright as I possibly can. I don't want to cant the gun because that changes your point of impact, point of aim. So especially as the targets are reeled out even further. So, and it also does crazy things with how the gun returns. The returnability of the gun. If the gun's canted, the gun doesn't return. The sights don't return the same spot every single time. You're kind of fighting physics. So by being able to keep the gun upright and keep the sights upright and just keeping it in front of your dominant eye, and again, it's just in body positioning more than anything. Like I don't try. I've tried all of the cant techniques and this and that and swapping. That to me, you're overthinking.
Yeah, you would have been better just getting better shooting the same exact way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I mean, it must be the difficult things people are looking for that magic bullet. Please tell me the pro tip. Please tell me the pro tip that'll.
All right, I'll have the pro tip. If I was to watch this guy asking this question, shoot weak-handed, I doubt it would be among my suggestions to say, you should switch which eye you're aiming with.
Exactly.
Oh, man, that'd be cool.
Maybe, though. I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Well, I don't think we have anything else to say about that. All right, if you want to get in touch with Candace, hit her up on the YouTube channel. So people have been writing some particularly nasty comments about her lately, which she
Aw.
appreciates.
Thank you for the feedback. And
Actually, no, some people have been also positive as well.
yeah, that's all right too.
Tim, hit him up on Facebook. Your class is full, Tim? I'm to understand.
It is, yeah. I
Woo!
believe
Sold
so.
it out.
Yep.
Is there another class we need to pimp or no?
At this point, no. I'm supposed to talk to Hoppy about it a little bit this weekend too to find out how soon we want to do another one. So
Okay.
definitely, if you guys are interested, please contact me because the more interest I've got, the faster I will then attempt to get another school like in the works ASAP.
All right, and if you want to pay more money to train with someone that isn't Tim, go to my website, bensteiger.com, and you can train with me instead, or whatever. That sounds good, right, Tim? No, you got
Absolutely, yeah.
You pay by the pound, right?
That's what it is. That's what it is.
That's what goes on.
That's why